Yes, everyone, welcome back to the channel. Stephen Howson, new video for you here. We're going to look at Ten Hag's squad management. I'm going to explain why I think he's done some of the things he's done, and I'm going to sort of go through the hierarchy a little bit of where everybody is within the squad, because I think there's been some movements. I think the signings have impacted this. I think there's been some movements on performance, some movements due to injuries, and all that sort of stuff. So I'm going to go through. I've got 6 categories of players. I've got key players, I've got first team players, and when I get to that, I'll explain the difference between what I believe first team players and key players are. Squad players, fringe players, that should be pretty obvious. Out on loan, that should be pretty obvious. And then the forgotten men, because there's some of those. So, key players. Those are players that I believe Erik Ten Hag goes, that's my boy. And if he's fit, he's playing. And there's a few of those. And I'm not sure what the key number is. I don't think you can get 11 of those. I think 8 or 9 of those would be sensational. They're fit, they play. And then you pad out with like trusted first team players, and then your squad players, and then your etc. So I'm going to get into the key players first. Now the key players I believe that we have got, I hope these don't really need too much explanation, but I'm going to say Lisandro Martinez. I believe he is a key player. I believe he's fit, he plays. Simple as that. And I think his partner Rafael Varane today announced international football retirement. Focus on United even more. Those two are key players. Joining those, Bruno Fernandes. You see him wearing the captain's armband more often than not at the moment. I believe he is a key player that Ten Hag is happy with. Marcus Rashford. I believe he is a key player, which might not have been the case in the summer, to be honest with you. Casemiro, there is no doubt whatsoever Casemiro is a key player. Luke Shaw, I think, has put himself into the key player category. And perhaps controversially, I haven't put Christian Eriksen into this category. And you can disagree with that. It's allowed. This is just my opinion, after all. This isn't me. I haven't got the documents here from Ten Hag's office and telling you this is what Ten Hag thinks. It's just what Steve thinks, all right? Now, those are your key players. Those are the ones that when they are fit, they start no matter what. Then I've got first team players. And the first team players, I think, are people who are trusted, and they will play more often than not. Those are players that he can trust, but they're not quite key players. So, for an example, in fact, you know what? I'm sorry. I had graphics for this. I had graphics done and totally forgot. Anyway, my first team players. An example of this one here being David De Gea. I think David De Gea is a first team player, not a key player. And some people will be like, well, of course he's key. You need your goalkeeper, and fair enough. I think he would replace David De Gea with someone he trusts with his feet a little bit more, someone that maybe comes and claims crosses a little bit more. I think he would replace him if he could. I think that's the difference between a first team player and a key player. A key player is someone that he's already happy with and he's not looking to replace. You might be looking to replace long term because they might be getting on, but you're not looking to upgrade on. Does that make sense? We're not, like, for example, if I go back through my key players here, are we looking to upgrade Martinez? Are we looking to upgrade Casemiro? Are we looking to upgrade Marcus Rashford? Would we be looking to upgrade David De Gea? In my opinion, yes. That's why he's down as a first team player and not a key player. Same goes from Anthony Martial. I believe Anthony Martial is a first team player, not a key player. Now you can have your own opinions on that. And I put Christian Eriksen and Anthony in the same mixer as well. Anthony was a weird one because I'd almost put him in between. He isn't a key player and we're not looking to upgrade him, I don't believe. And I think he's been given that status because he's just cost us 100 million in the summer. So I think that's more the reason why we're not looking to upgrade him than the fact that he's made himself this undroppable player, because that would be inaccurate, wouldn't it? He's not done that. He's been all right. And I think a trusted first-team player is where he's at rather than a key player. Diogo Dalot, I think, also sits in this category, as does Jadon Sancho. I don't think you could call Jadon Sancho or Diogo Dalot squad players, so therefore they have to be trusted first-team players. And this is a pure guess. I think Sabitzer comes in as a first-team player. I don't think he'll be key. I think he'll be good. Therefore, first team. Then you've got the squad players. There might be some surprises in there for people, but we'll get into them and see what you think. So, squad players. I think Weghorst, squad player. I don't think he's going to play every single game. I think he might be preferred in certain circumstances, but I think he's certainly a squad player. I think Victor Lindelof, I think it's been proven, squad player. He comes in, he plays when the likes of Martinez isn't fit anymore. Squad player. Terrell Malacia, not quite first team, probably not quite squad player. I think he's probably more of an in-betweener there. Squad player. Fred, quintessential squad player. Comes in for 20 minutes here and there, starts the occasional game. That's exactly what a squad player is there to do. Aaron Wan-Bissaka's probably started off this season in squad player, maybe even fringe. And I think he's probably just above squad player, but not quite first team player just yet. If he continues on the trajectory that we've seen with him, he might find himself in the first team player category, but I think he's probably still just squad player. Same goes for Scott McTominay. I think he's a squad player. I don't think he's quite at the level to be a first team player. And one of the players that's come out of nowhere to find himself now a squad player is Garnacho. Garnacho probably at the start of the season absolutely would have sat right in the fringe player. He's certainly not first team player yet because he only starts when Rashford needs a night off. Therefore, squad player. Fringe. I think there might be some disagreements over these ones, but it's all about opinions in football. Let's do it. Fringe players. Anthony Elanga. For me, not quite good enough to be a squad player. Doesn't quite have the trust of being a squad player. Therefore, he's a fringe player. And I put Harry Maguire in the same situation as well. People are going to lose their mind over this one. He's the club captain. He cost 80 million. I don't think he's got the trust. I don't think he's got the trust of the players, and I don't think he's got the trust of the manager. And I think he's a player that will be sold as soon as a suitable suitor is found for him in the summer. I think Harry Maguire is literally just on the fringes now and will probably play as often as Anthony Elanga does. Tom Heaton, same drill. He's a fringe player. David De Gea plays. You don't really have rotational goalkeepers, so therefore he's a fringe player. Pellistri is one that I think could move himself out of this category. Out of all the people that are in there, I think Pellistri is the one that could move himself from this category into the one above, into being a squad player. But I think right now he's not starting games, therefore that's fringe. Do you agree on that? I think that's fringe. Same with Kobbie Mainoo. He's infrequently involved in the sides, very often on the bench. That's the definition of fringe. And Zidane just squeezes in here as a fringe player because, to be honest, after pre-season, he's almost been forgotten. And we'll get to them a little bit later on. But that's my fringe players. Ian Murphy says 100% right with Harry Maguire. NC says Osimhen isn't worth the cash. All right, okay. Google this says I agree with all these so far, bar Sancho and McTominay. McTominay is fringe at best, and Sancho is currently squad player at best. I don't think we can say that at the moment. I know he's only just come back, but I think he is still very much a first-team player, and I think he will play that. Andrew A says Donny still exists. I've got Donny in the fringe at the moment because I think even when he was fit, I think he really struggled. Patrick says, where are the people that were saying this was pre-recorded? Do people think this was pre-recorded? I'm just trying to get through my stuff without getting sidetracked. I like getting sidetracked. I like getting sidetracked. I'm just trying to get through it all a little bit. Michael says, what a lot of people ignore is McTominay's movement off the ball. I actually think he creates a lot of space. The problem is when he gets on the ball, he does less than nothing with it. I almost don't think he's got the ability to be able to knock it through. Okay, on loan. Oh my days. This could have been its own video. I just didn't think there was enough interest in... Look, a lot of these lads have gone out on loan last week. Very difficult to have watched any of them. So let's get into the who's on loan. God damn, look at all those players we got on loan. All right, let's get into it. We got Erik Bailly. And Erik Bailly currently serving a 7-match ban. I know you all saw it. I think he got the ball. I don't see what the problem was. He's currently serving a 7-match ban on loan at Marseille. I heard they were appealing it. I can't find the result of that appeal. So if he's not serving a 7-match ban, he was awarded a 7-match ban. And that's all I can find any information out about. Amad Diallo is at Sunderland. We covered him last week. If you've not seen that video, go check it out. Doing quite well. Played centrally. A lot of people think he's playing off the right-hand side. He sort of plays centre and drifts right. Doing well, though, having a good little loan. Axel Tuanzebe joined Stoke on deadline day. If you missed that, you're probably not the only one who missed that. Axel Tuanzebe is at Stoke. I really hope it works out for Axel. Lovely bloke, top player. Injuries have just massacred his career. Hannibal Mabry at Birmingham on loan, doing well, getting a good reputation there with the Birmingham fans. Shola Shoretire has gone out on loan to Bolton. Caught a little bit of that on Saturday when he was playing. Dean Henderson, as we know, playing for Nottingham Forest in the Premier League. Alvaro Fernandez is at Preston and doing very, very well, getting some excellent reviews there. Alex Telles is at Sevilla. Totally forgot even was still a Manchester United player, I'm going to be honest with you. Ethan Laird is at QPR. Started really well. They've gone through a managerial change. I haven't kept up to date with them over the last few weeks, so I'm not sure how they're going. Then we've got a bit of a contingent at Altrincham. Sonny Al-Joffrey is at Altrincham, as is Joe Hugill, Maxi Oyedele. That's an interesting little conundrum that's gone on there. Just a ton of players just gypped over there. Will Fish is at Hibernian. I think Will Fish has got a future in the game. I haven't seen any of him at Hibernian. Ethan Galbraith at Salford. I have been catching quite a bit of Ethan's games. Mate Kovar has gone to Sparta Prague. Online loan, the goalkeeper. Charlie Savage has found himself at Forest Green Rovers. That's an interesting one, and I'm going to try and get to one of his games, actually. Andre Masnett has gone to Portadown. Deshaun Bernard went to Portsmouth on deadline day, and Charlie McNeil has gone to Newport County. So in terms of the squad management, what we've seen there is, I'm going to highlight a few of these players. I would say Diallo. I would say Alvaro Fernandez. I would say Shola Shoretire. Ethan Laird probably just about squeaks under this because his ceiling is so high. Will Fish, I don't necessarily see him being a starter for Manchester United, but we've let better players play more games. We've let worse players play more games. Charlie Savage, this could make or break with Charlie. I think there's a real talent with Charlie. It's the physicality that I worry about with him a little bit, but this is an interesting loan for him. I'm keen to see how he gets on there. Deshaun Bernard had a fantastic loan at Hull last season, became a real fan favourite. Don't know what's happened to him this season. Obviously, that's a great loan for him, and I'm really interested to see how Charlie McNeil gets on at Newport. Those are the ones that I think could come back and actually still be Manchester United players. Probably looking more at squad players. Diallo's maybe one that could maybe get his way into the first team, but you're up against it at this level, I think. So that's where everybody is out on loan. And then the forgotten men. Phil Jones. I was going to call this the Phil Jones category. Phil Jones out of contract at the end of the season, and hopefully that is that. End of him. Nathan Bishop. No idea what's going on with Nathan Bishop. Jack Butland obviously has recently just joined us on loan. Is he ever going to do anything? No idea. Brandon Williams. I don't know what's going on with Brandon Williams, and I would love an update. I'd love to find out what's going on with him. There was a career that started off so promisingly, then completely faded. A little trip out on loan. Looked like he did all right. Not been seen or heard of since. Teden Mengi was injured, then got injured against Betis and hasn't been seen since. Teden is one I think I worry that he goes down the same road Axel Tuanzebe's been down. Not that it's by choice, it's just injuries. Players that have got that level of pace and speed in them, really susceptible to sort of hamstring and quad injuries, and I think that's what's sort of hampered Axel Tuanzebe's development. Teden's an unbelievable defender. Charlie Wellens set to leave on a free at the end of the season. Dermot Mee, he went on loan to Altrincham. They called him back and sent 3 more there, so I have no idea what's going on with him. And then we have Mason Greenwood. Mason Greenwood today cleared of all the charges that was against him. Not seen any statement as yet from the club. I have no idea what is going to happen with him. I have my own feelings on what I feel about the case. I don't like talking about legal proceedings or players' personal lives. I prefer to focus about what's been going on the pitch. So in terms of what I think about Mason Greenwood and the whole situation, I'm going to wait and see what the club say about it. And I'll probably not make content around it because I don't like making content about gossip or off the field stuff. I think it's distasteful and it's not something that I want to make. And I'm going to try and read some comments that aren't the obvious. If I can find some. I'm struggling to find some. SK says, sell Maguire, Tellez, Bailly, Brandon. Probably raise a little bit of money, right? I think that would. It's Echo says, thought Mengi was injured. Unfortunately, that just seems to be the way the career is going for him a little bit. Emma says, Bishop's always in first team training from what I see. It never seems to be getting any closer. Like, why sign Jack Butland? Like, the third choice keeper at United seems to be just the maddest job in the world, doesn't it? And you've got the likes of Bishop. Like, how often are you ever going to need to dip into your third choice? Really? Really struggling to find comments that I want to read out here. Apologies. Brian Case says, imagine if Phil Jones signed a new contract. Could see him getting involved with the academy. If Phil Jones ends up getting an extension, I honest to God do not know. Samir says, would I mind if Greenwood played again though? Just curious. I'll say thank you for the super chat. Unfortunately, I'm not going to answer that question because at the moment I don't feel like answering that question. Lewis Ladd says, Ward-Prowse for McTominay. Massive upgrade that would be. Kez says, is Sancho a mid now? We were talking about that in the office earlier. Is this a new position for him, or is this a way to ease him back into the team, or is this just a way to try some stuff? I think his attributes really suit him being a number 10. I think he's an excellent number 10. He's got all of the attributes that you would want to be a good number 10. And I think Ten Hag has definitely seen something in Bruno playing off the right-hand side. He's done it in so many games now, so frequently, that I think it's the crossing ability that Bruno offers from that right-hand side. Imagine Ten Hag turns Sanchez, I keep calling him Sanchez, Jason Sanchez. Imagine he turns Jadon Sancho into a genuinely like world-class threatening number 10 and Bruno becomes a right-sided midfielder, like a right winger. Genius. Gander says Van der Beek played pretty good in his last game and he was just getting his momentum. Anthony says, imagine a frosty reception. Henderson will get when he comes back into the squad. I don't know if he will. I don't know when his contract is up. I feel like his contract is up pretty soon. It might even be at the end of this season. Notch says, is there something contractual about having 3 keepers in a squad for games? But we've got the likes of Bishop. You got Kovar before you sent him out on loan. Why do we need 3 fully grown men ones? Why can't we use an under 21s or something? That's what I don't agree with. Nicholas says, why didn't we get the options to buy on the loans? I don't know the answer to that. Kevin says, Bruno loves to collect the ball from the right-hand side. Check his heat map. Could be something in that one, I think. Andrew says, Dean Henderson, why did his stock drop so quickly? Dean Henderson did not help himself by bumping his gums. And that's a lesson to a lot of footballers that you actually don't need to say anything. And rarely does your stock rise by you coming out and saying stuff, unless it's positive and it's, as a fan. If you're a fan of like Marcus Rashford comes out and goes, I love this club and I'd die for it. His stock doesn't go down for saying that. If you come out and are negative about your parent club, who advised him to do that? Just keep your mouth shut. You was never going to, it was never going to go better for you for doing that. You can think it. There's no problem with thinking. Cause I think what happened with Henderson is, and I can believe it, he was told he would be the number 1 goalkeeper at United. Now, That didn't happen. So he's right to feel aggrieved that the promises he was made didn't happen. It was quite clear for everyone to see when they were going head to head that they were sort of leaning towards him, though. SK says, we got some good youth. Good luck to them. Let's see how far they progress. We should have a sell section too for summer. Yeah, I think there's a fair few that are probably going to find themselves in that section, including people I really like Ethan Laird. Like him, Axel. I know Axel's on the end of his contract, but I would like to see them moved on because I think that's the right thing to do. Ronaldo advised Henderson. He might have done. Jack says, do I think Kim Min-jae would happily be third choice? No. Isaac says, can I explain why I don't see Eriksen as a key player? I think Eriksen offers a tremendous amount, and I think him and Casemiro have been phenomenal this season for us. And I don't know if it's a little bit... Do you know the way Anthony's sort of like in between first team and key player purely because of his price? I don't know if that is sort of because of his age, because of his price, that Eriksen has sort of dropped into the first team category for me as well. And again, it's just my opinion. I think he's a wonderful player. I just think if United could upgrade him, would they? I think they would. I think that the talks around, obviously we're not going to be signing Enzo Fernandez anymore, but some of the players that we've been linked with, despite having him, longer term, if they could get like Bellingham in, would they? Yes, I think. Ed says, the more I look at players we are linked with in the summer, the more I think Eriksen was meant to be a rotation option. I thought that in the summer, and I think he's probably surprised more than one person just on the sheer quality of player that he's been since we signed him. Fezzi says, Sancho could be like Dele Alli in 16-17. Oh, can we please not link people to Dele Alli? What a fall-off. What happened there? Honestly, what happened there? Brian says, do I think Hannibal and Shoretire will be United players in the next 18 months? Not sure. I would lean towards yes. Jason says, is Jones doing his coaching badges at the club and maybe use like Tom Huddleston? Not that I know of. That'd be such an easy, positive PR win to stick out there, wouldn't it? From both the club and Phil Jones's point of view. He's doing his coaching badges, doesn't know how long he's got left playing. So, bosh. He could have done that. But he's not done that. Mayank says, Ten Hag is scarred. Last season, 3 keepers were injured at Ajax, hence more keepers. This hasn't just been Ten Hag, though. We did this last season, remember? Terrace Talk Live says, I'm a Bolton fan, and the young lad Shola on loan has started well with us. Looks a play. I caught your game, actually, on Saturday. I didn't see too much of what he was doing, but he did look quite bright. Who would have buy in my eyes understood a Casemiro? I am working on that video right now. We're going to have 5 for you. Does Joel play for Stretford Paddock? Joel's miles off the worst team in the club. Reckon we're going to see Sabitzer start against Palace? Yes, just recorded the preview for that. That's going to be up in the morning. Make sure to tune in for that. Subscribe if you're new and you haven't already. How about going for Casado in the summer? I think that's a possibility, in all honesty. I don't know how likely a possibility, but I think it's a possibility. Danny with a super chat there says Sabitzer should have been option with Casemiro rotating. It's a good bit of depth, that, if you keep hold of both of them. Notch says, now for categories on the Paddock squad. There's about 9 of you that are asked about that. Maybe I already have it mentally. Rob says, Ten Hag sending Sancho to the Netherlands for a reset. Was it just isolation, or did Ten Hag have lingering issues with availability and coaching medical support at MUFC? I think it was getting him out of whatever. So I've been sort of trying to do a lot of research on habit creation, habit breaking, that sort of stuff. Like, we're all trying to get better every day, right? Surely. I hope so, at least, anyway. I am. I got loads of things I have to work on, loads of things I want to improve. And one of the biggest things about changing habits is environment. If you can change your environment, if you can change the places that you go to, the people that you hang out with, you can change your life. And I think that asking Sancho to continue coming into Carrington, seeing the people that he plays with, seeing the people that were around when he got whatever was wrong with him, whatever depression that he got was, I think you take him out of that environment, you give him a totally fresh start, a fresh perspective, fresh focus, and he can come back and be a completely different person with new habits already formed because he formed them in a different setting. And I think that's one of the most key things. Like, it's very difficult for people to break the mold because they're doing the same things constantly. You have to change. To change something, you got to change something. Like, you can't just decide that you're going to do something different. You have to make a conscious change. And sometimes, like, that'll break down. Like, I'm addicted to Red Bull. I can't fucking get off of stuff. And one of the problems with that is I drive. And when I'm driving, well, they're in every petrol station. They're fucking so readily available. Like, prior to having the Red Bull addiction, I had a Monster addiction, but there's only one particular flavour of Monster that I actually liked, and it was the red one. The orange and black one, which they don't sell anymore. So I kicked my Monster one because they just didn't sell anymore. That was it. Unfortunately, I don't think Red Bull are going to stop selling. I think they make a bit of money. But there you go. If I want to change that, I can change that. Like, so if I go away somewhere and they don't sell it, I just don't have it because it's not available to me. SK said, Sancho, good of both feet, great dribbler. It's like having a different kind of 10 to Bruno. Definitely agree, crossing ability for Weghorst. Google this says, will we be making a video on the final versus Newcastle? Maybe a bit more detailed than a match preview, because that would be mint. A bit more of a depth of breakdown of both managers. Yes, and I'm going to try and vlog the final as well. So definitely look out for that one. Brian says, get an electric car so you don't have to stop at petrol stations. I stop more for Red Bull than I do for fuel. Suraj says, does Bruno play on the wing, put pressure on Anthony with Sancho back playing down the middle? Yes. Notch says, I had a Lucasade original addiction, but that's so old school. I think Lucasade, old school ones might be, but they are the go-to when you're not well. ETH says, nice, a vlog on a final would be ace. Chirayu says, was Phil Jones any good when Sir Alex signed from Blackburn? Yes. Like, let's have it right. Phil Jones at one point was good. He lost his way. He got injured. I don't know if he's ever going to come close to the player that he once was. Once was a good enough player for Sir Alex Ferguson to say he could be as good as Duncan Edwards. Looks like a daft comment now. But no one at the time was going, what did he just say? And that's how quick it can change for you in football. I mean, all right, it's not changed that quickly, to be honest. Ed says Phil Jones was spoken about to be the next JT. No, they were talking about him like he was good. Danny says Sancho in the 10 very much in the Odegaard mould. A bit more dribbly than that, but yeah, could definitely be something. JD91 says Ten Hag is all about managing, no emotional BS, just straight up facts and all about improving. Mr. Super Chat says, Andrew, apologies, they were going pretty quick. Let me try to see if I can scroll back and find it. Oh, there we go. 3 goalkeepers is perfect for a training group. Yeah, perhaps. But we still have Bishop's there, technically. So we've got 4. Stephen says, I had a friend who used to play for Leicester youth team. They used to be sponsored by Lucasade Sport, and he came back with a £600 dentist bill. God damn. Do I think we still need a new first team centre forward to challenge in the league? Well, we're not getting one. Not before summer, at least, anyway, so I would like it. Dr. Shubham says, what do I think Will Greenwood play for United this season? Love your content. I have no idea. I find it hard to believe he'll ever be the same level he was. And I have a lot of conflicted feelings around him ever being a Manchester United player again. And I don't know who can take a year off in their prime or on the way to their prime and still return to be the same player, even if I wanted them to be. So that is literally all I'm going to say on it. Oliver says the club's whole ethos was disregarded with the way we treated Dean Henderson. Yeah, and it was in the midst of handing De Gea an absolutely obscene contract as well. John says, Steve, I've seen John Terry and Piers Morgan have had a spat online. Jesus Christ, what a meeting of minds that is. Is it possible if you want both of them to lose? Brian says, Muhammad Ali was never the same after he served his ban for not going to Vietnam. RP41X says, Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was still involved in athletics, though. I'm not 100% sure if that's the case. I don't know if he's been training. Lee says, quick question on Garnacho. I think his recent performances have been okay. After bursting onto the scene, he now faces a tougher spell. Absolutely. When a young player breaks through, they're told to go and enjoy themselves and express themselves. And then as soon as they realise that they're good, they're given defensive responsibilities and things like that. And that's a little adjustment period. This is the make or break time. Anyone can burst onto the scene. In fact, most players do burst onto the scene and look amazing, and then there's a fall off. It's the ones who can still look okay, which I think Garnacho is doing, whilst learning the real trade. You got to remember, this is your job. You have to learn. Your apprenticeship is not just about playing in a field, running around, doing whatever. You have a job to do. And if you don't make this bloke win games, he don't pick you. I think a lot of people forget that. It's a game to a lot of us, but it's a job. Who would I put in a team today? Rude or RVP? God, there's nothing between them. I would feel blessed that we had the opportunity to choose between them. Garnacho should go to the camp Rashford went to and get stocked. Righty. You lot let me know. Who would you lot go? Rude or RVP? Let me know in the comments, and I'm going to call it a day after that. 2 shouts for Rude so far. Schmeichel or Van der Sar. RVP, Rude. RVP, Rude. I think Rude is running away with this one, lads. There you go. The public has spoken. Rude it is. Take it easy. See you in the morning. Make sure to subscribe. Laters. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, 5-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.